So I've never really been a big fan of breadcrumbs in SolidWorks. I get the idea that you can click on a face and then up here you can access a menu specifically for the part, the body, or the feature, but I never really understood the benefit until today. Today I got to see Gray versus Atse, and Gray used this command like an absolute wizard. And here's what he did. He clicked on the face of the model and then pressed the letter D, D as in Delta, on his keyboard, brought up this breadcrumbs menu, and then did a right click here on the solid body, went to material, and then applied a material from the material's favorites. And I cannot think of a better way to do this, and this is absolutely going into my standard workflow from this moment forward. Because what I always had to do was come over here to the tree, expand the cut list, expand the folder, and then right click here to get to my materials favorites. But we don't have to do that anymore. You can just click on the face of the body, press the letter D, right click here on this breadcrumb, and go to materials and apply the appropriate material. And that's something that I think is so cool, and it's one of my favorite things about watching these CAD versus CAD battles and seeing these wizards kind of inadvertently share some of their favorite tips and tricks on how to efficiently navigate the software. So if you agree that that's pretty cool, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to leave me some comments down below, and let me know what you think about today's CAD vs. CAD tournament highlight.
I want to throw a shout out to 3D Connection. So 3D Connection's been like one of our partners for forever. I remember the original people there. The backstory of the company is pretty amazing. That's a pretty crazy story. If you guys don't know it, you should look into it. But it's a must-have product. I was on a meeting the other day with somebody who didn't have a 3D mouse, and it was painful. It was so painful.
That's an awesome testimonial and great to hear. And if you're out there using 3D CAD, definitely check it out. They're always running promotions. They have contests. You can win their hardware. They're really not that expensive, even if you're just trying to try it out. Or if you have a coworker who has one, maybe you could ask them to borrow it and just try it out and see if it's a good fit for you. But like you said, for a lot of people, it's a must-have. So shout out to 3D Connection for sponsoring us, and shout out, of course, to Plasticity. We got to turn back to the Wheel of Fate. If you're not familiar with Plasticity, be sure to check out Plasticity, and thank you to Plasticity for sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. And guys, let's give this Wheel of Fate a spin and see what it has in store and see who has clairvoyance in the chat. We're going to find out right now. Matab says 20. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys, we are moving on to our second challenge here in the mix, and the second challenge is going to be challenge number 7. Let's do it. Here we go, guys. We're going to get into this next CAD vs. CAD battle featuring Atse from North Macedonia running SolidWorks going up against Gray, our number 1 seed from Russia, running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in XXXX grams? What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in XXXX grams? And our runners are grabbing a screen capture. They're looking over this thing. We can see there's a bill of materials down in the corner. It says that this has got 2 different parts. It's got a heat guard with the holes omitted, and it's got the heater body. It's a space heater. And we've got the material plain carbon steel and ABS. Let's see how our runners handle this challenge. And so here we go into the CAD vs. CAD battle. And we can see that the rendering of this space heater, I've included the holes. Maybe we'll include them when we add this model to the library. But for the challenge that we've given these guys, those holes are not on that front guard. It's just a front plate there that's kind of wrapping around. Still complicated, though. How do you design these 2 parts to kind of nest together so that the part that's made out of that stainless steel matches into the part that's made out of plastic, that it has those corners, that the corners have the correct radii? How do you design parts like this? This is some tricky stuff.
So this is one of the prints I saw earlier that when I looked at all the prints that we were going to cover today potentially, I remember thinking right away how I would do that grill. And I'm limited to what I can share, but
yep. There's a few ways. I mean, listen, there's a few ways you can do it. So, yeah. we can maybe share some of those ways a little bit later, but there's actually a few ways. But wow, look at Gray on the right, made short work of that upper lip area. But wow, look at Atse did it using a fillet. That's so interesting. I didn't get to see how Gray did it. I would have done that with a sweep. I would have
he swept it. Yeah, he did sweep that.
Atse notched out a corner and then did a fillet.
Yeah, that was clever too.
Was really unexpected. And so now both of our runners are working on that kind of. There's an area on the back of the space heater where you can reach down with your hand and you can pick it up. So they're both now designing that little pocket area. And man, so interesting to see the different techniques. I love seeing this stuff.
Well, what I'm already impressed with these guys is their SolidWorks settings are set up to make the sketching process super efficient. You know, a lot of shortcut keys. Obviously, you can see Gray has been hitting. I think he's been hitting maybe the D key. I don't know what his shortcut is, but that's the ultimate efficiency, is to be able to sketch and essentially dimension as you're creating closing the contour. So I love this.
Yeah.
And Ase is pretty much in the same boat. He's very fluid with it. I think he's more of the style to sketch it out than kind of assign all the dimensions, but either way it gets it done.
They're very close, and that you can see how close they are. Now let's see. Now they're going to get into the interesting part, creating that pocket and then creating the geometry inside of that pocket. So here we see on the right, Gray has decided to switch his view so that he can see all the hidden edges, kind of see it in wireframe. Atse looks like he is. Let's see. It's interesting. He's created a copy of the main body. Ate has created a copy of the main body, and now he's going to be working with that copy of the main body. So really interesting to see these two different approaches. And you can see that dimension that Gray is putting in now, that's how this thing is dimensioned. It's dimensioned as 5 millimeters off of the side of the part. It's kind of an interesting dimension there, but that's how the customer defined it to us. So there you see Gray was able to put that in there. And we see that Atse, on the other hand, looks like he's doing this more as a... See what he's doing here.
It's a little more of a multi-body approach, maybe, because the fact that he copied that body up front, it tells me maybe he has like a background in like other CAD programs where you had to use more Boolean functions. But
yeah, it looks like that's almost what he's done. He's kind of created that plate, and now he's going to try and Boolean that out. So see how he does it. Now we see Gray on the right turning this thing into a cut extrude. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now how is he going to get the other body in there? That's the question. So we're going to be watching both of these guys. This is really, really interesting. Matab says Gray looks more locked in. Give these guys some music.
Wow. It's it's so stressful for me because when I see somebody do something differently than I would do it,
yes,
I'm just waiting for there to be this consequence to it, right? But no, I mean they know what they're doing.
These guys,
that's what's great about CAD, right? Is that you can get to the same result with so many different methods, right?
Yep.
And I mean that's the beauty of it, showing people head to head on a tournament. It's as competitive as it gets. And you know what's also exciting is this is something that AI could really never do, right? It just can't. I mean, I've seen people try to integrate or implement AI into like design, and it's just like, oh wow, great! I'm sorry, I just saw Gray do it. I was
so close.
I love this. I love this.
I'm trying to listen to you, but like I'm really focused on this action, and I'm really interested to see. This is going to be neck and neck. These guys are both so close right now. So we're going to keep an eye on the chat. We're going to see if either one of them can come in with an answer. We're watching the chat. So Ate comes to the chat. 4911 grams, and it looks like Gray is right behind him, and Gray comes in with an answer. 4913 grams, and guys, the correct answer is 4911 grams plus or minus 5. They both had an answer within tolerance, but it's going to be Atse who wins that second point, and Atse is going to move on in the tournament into the semifinals. And wow, what a battle between these guys. Holy smokes, so close between them. And wow, within just a matter of seconds, Gray in the chat says, GG, bro. Wow. Guys, what a battle. That was so cool to see both of them modeling that up. Sub 6 minute times from both of them. Guys, be sure to give a GG in the chat to both of our runners. Both of our runners putting in an epic showing there. And holy smokes, man, that was awesome from both of our runners.
Wow. I was worried I couldn't do any meaningful commentary today because with Ase and Gray, I mean, especially this whole battle here, I was like, it'll happen too fast. You know, you won't be able to say anything or even comment on anything because, you know, the speed. And sure enough, like, that's exactly what happened.